everyone knows about the Great Emu War. But in this video, we will present a slightly lesser-known event, the Four Pests Campaign, an effort to prevent a famine that ended up causing the largest, deadliest famine in recorded history. In 1949, the People's Republic of China was founded by Mao Zedong after a period of civil war. 9 years later, in 1958, Zedong launched the famous but doomed social campaign known as the Great Leap Forward. Through this, he aimed to increase China's economy and industry, transforming it from a rural, agricultural nation to a thriving communist society. One of the first actions taken in this leap was known as the Four Pests Campaign. It was so named because it sought to eradicate 4 unwanted types of animals: flies, which carried typhoid; mosquitoes, which carried malaria; rats, which carried the plague; and, most famously, sparrows. The first 3 seem like understandable choices, but why sparrows? The government, at the time, believed that Eurasian tree sparrows ate crops such as rice and grain, though in truth, their effect on production was more or less negligible. They were also thought as public animals of capitalism, so there's that. Through propaganda such as posters, the populace was convinced that sparrows were vile birds, to be exterminated. The results were quite remarkable. Many took up arms and shot them out of the sky on sight. The unarmed would bang pots and pans whenever they saw sparrows resting on branches, to kill them by exhaustion. One day, an alleged force of 3 million citizens marched through Beijing on the hunt for the feathered vermin. When the city's Polish embassy refused to let them enter to scare away the sparrows, it was surrounded by drumming protesters non-stop for 2 days. As you've probably guessed, all this was not good for the sparrow population. By 1960, the Eurasian tree sparrow was nearly extinct in China, less than 2 years after the launch of the Four Pests Campaign. However, the influential ornithologist Zhou Xiancheng managed to convince Chinese leaders to end the sparrow eradication, pointing out that they were very important predators of insects. Mao replaced sparrows with bedbugs, but the damage had been done. With no sparrows to keep them in check, locust populations exploded. They swarmed the country, demolishing crops like the birds never could. This plague of locusts was the nail in the coffin, adding to a perfect storm of factors, all results of Zedong's Great Leap Forward and causing the Great Chinese Famine. This famine, lasting from 1959 to 1961, was the worst period of starvation in recorded human history. While the Chinese government dubiously reported 15 million casualties, other estimates conclude that at least 45 million people died. For the poor of China during this time, life would have been hell on earth. Villages and roadsides were littered with corpses, and pets had disappeared from most settlements. One man, according to a well-known Dutch historian, was force-fed excrement for stealing a fellow villager's sweet potato, as in potato, singular. During the Great Chinese Famine, the birth rate in the country dropped to lower than it had ever been before the one-child policy. The government tried desperately to cover up the devastation from Mao, assembling fake lush fields of grain when he visited agricultural regions. In addition to the tens of millions who starved, millions more were beaten or tortured to death, and millions more again committed suicide. And all this is because of the misguided actions of one man trying to advance his country. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. You can also leave a comment with what you would like to see in the following videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time.